An explosion in innovation has created a global economy that has benefited millions of people. But many others have suffered, with no governance structure in place to protect the public good.
Global governance right now is tilted towards the interests of the powerful and rich. And therefore a way has to be found to give a voice to the billions and billions of people who live without proper resources.
Peter Eigen is the founder of Transparency International, a global organization that has successfully strengthened global governance in the area of corruption. In this program, he explains how a powerful civil society can help build an enabling environment in which global governance can flourish.
It is amazing how important civil society organizations have been in the changes which occurred in the world during the last 15-20 years.
He describes how members of civil society can work together and in partnership with the business community, governments, and academia to create a better world for everyone.
Global governance has to be more responsive to the interests of the poor. Global governance right now is tilted towards the interests of the powerful and rich, and therefore a way has to be found to give a voice to the billions and billions of people who live without proper resources. The way one can do this is only by giving a stronger say to the representatives of these people, and as long as, for instance, their governments are themselves corrupt and don't have compassion for their own poor people, as we very often see by the tremendous wealth which is amassed by the governments and politicians in very poor countries, there has to be some other way, and I believe that this is the area where civil society organizations have a tremendous responsibility. Well, civil society organizations have to, of course, live up to this new responsibility. They have to, in my opinion, become much more competent to understand the complexities of the area in which they want to take on responsibilities. This is why, for instance, I believe strongly our universities have to help to train and educate more leaders for civil society, and research and so on has to focus more on the questions which are posed by civil society. But civil society leaders themselves have to be much more open to interact and formulate questions, for instance, to academia to get their support. Civil society also has to be much more open to cooperate with the traditional actors of governance. So they should not be too one-sided in, for instance, condemning the World Bank, condemning major multinational corporations. They should rather try to understand their interests and their strengths and cater to these interests and strengths in order to form compromises which will lead to change. Civil society organizations, of course, have to also work on their own integrity and their own transparency. They have to work on their own decision-making processes, which have to be participatory and have to be open. So in a way, civil society organizations, in the final analysis, have to stand the competition which they have for ideas and for interests, and have to make it in a market of good ideas. I mean, this is eventually the source of their legitimacy. And in that sense, basically it's the rule of the market which also decides whether a certain civil society organization with its particular ideas and its approaches will have impact or not.